Hey everybody, New York City jazz guitarist Peter Mazza here from New York City, where I live with my family, my two daughters, my wife, and our little dog Mia. Pictured here, by the way, on my shirt. This is a dachshund playing guitar, so the Facebook algorithm has been spying on me and knows that I want to buy a dachshund playing guitar shirt, and I did, but I digress. Wanted to share some more music, and this isn't really a formal lesson. It's just like a little bit of insight into a concept that I have been really devoted to for many years, that I've had the privilege of sharing with a lot of other guitarists, whether you're professionals or semi-professionals or enthusiasts alike. I'm going to be talking about playing over a 2-5-1-6, 2-5-1, then 1 8-bar phrase in minor, in this case in C minor. And I'm also going to be doing that in 5/4 meter, like think this progression, but with like a take 5 Dave Brubeck kind of beat behind. And you'll hear that because I have the chords looped. So it's D minor 9 flat 5, which is F melodic minor. G7 altered, which is A flat melodic minor, C minor 9 major 7, which is C melodic minor, and A7 altered, which is B flat melodic minor. Then back to that 2 chord, back to the 5 chord, and then I hold the 1 chord for 2 measures, and that's an 8-bar phrase. So I do different. So let me explain superpositions. I mean, what I do, as you can see from what I just said, when I look at each chord, I think of a different key. So this is F melodic minor, or starting from D, that's D Locrian sharp 2. This chord, G7, is G superlocrian, or A flat melodic minor. This C minor chord, C minor 9 major 7, is C melodic minor itself. This A7 altered is A superlocrian, or B flat melodic minor, right? So this is not a one key per chord progression concept. It's the opposite. It's a key per chord concept. And you would say, why go to the trouble to do that? I mean, isn't that going to be really not just dense harmonically, but hard to play? Well, potentially, yes. But the concept of superimpositions will give you the best of all worlds, because you'll get all of the reason to think key per chord is that you can really get the most colorful, spicy notes on each chord, very idiomatic to jazz. But the fact that you're using superimpositions will allow you to break it down into smaller, more playable, hearable bites that connect both physically and aurally. So let me demonstrate that. So again, this is not meant to be a lesson video. Some people who know me know my harmonic supernova video on True Fire, where I spend 3 hours like going nuts with this stuff. And then I have a lot of free content on YouTube and on my Instagram and Facebook pages that talk about this stuff. But again, this is the abridged version. But so let's say on D minor 7 flat 5, I'm going to play D minor 7 flat 5. And then when it goes to that G7 altered, I'm going to move it up to F minor 7 flat 5. And then when it goes to the C minor, I'm going to move that down to E flat major 7 sharp 5. And then when it goes down to A7, I'm going to move that same arpeggio down to D flat major 7 sharp 5. Right? And then back up to the F minor 7 flat 5, E flat major 7 sharp 5 on the C minor, then C minor major 7 to wrap it up and put a bow on it. Right? So that's one arpeggio sequence that I use as the basis of lots of lines and chords and everything that I develop in an improvisation over that standard progression. Then I could start the whole thing from F minor major 7, then to A flat minor major 7 on the G7, and then A minor 7 flat 5 on the C minor 6, and then G minor 7 flat 5 on the A7, back to the F minor major 7, and then up to A flat minor major 7 on the G7, and then A minor 7 flat 5 on the C minor. Oh, sorry. And then E flat major 7 sharp 5 on the C minor, right? Then the last one, I mean, there's lots of these, but these are the main ones that really, this is some strong stuff, spicy stuff. So this is A flat major 7 sharp 5. And then up to C flat major 7 sharp 5. Same one, up a minor 3rd. And then C minor major 7, arpeggio on that same chord. Or C minor 6 chord, right? Down to B flat minor major 7 on that A7 chord, back. Then you have two options. You can either go up to E flat major 7 sharp 5 or down to A minor 7 flat 5. Right? So to me, that is the super highway that I build when I'm blowing on that chord progression, because it kind of, I cover all of the harmonic and melodic bases there. The improvisation is what I do with that information. I mean, to me, even just running those sounds pretty cool as far as notes go. But maybe you would say, oh, it still sounds like an exercise. So, but let's get into it. And then, so to that, I personally am working on, since I've spent so many years doing this in 4/4 and in 3/4, now I'm working on doing it in 5 and in 7, right? So, say we've got this kind of Dave Brubeck-ish kind of rhythm, right? Listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, 1, 2. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's those are the quarter notes in 5/4, right? 5 beats per chord. And then this is the Roman numerals, right? 2 minor 7 flat 5, 5 dominants, altered dominant that is, 1 minor major 7, right? Kind of cool quarter. And then 6 altered, dominant altered, 2 half diminished, right? Minor 7 flat 5, and then 5 altered, and then 1 minor for 2 bars of 5. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 bar phrase in 5/4 tempo. So now I'm going to take those exact superimposition combinations and, create some lines and run them for you to check out and to practice along to. I should add that I run 2 different groups. One's called Complete Harmony, which lays all this stuff out on the fundamentals, each chord, and on 251. And a group called Jazz Workout, which is like, once people have gotten their footing, really kind of feel their way around, hear their way around, we do this on all kinds of tunes. All kinds of harmonic progression standards, of varying degrees of difficulty and density. So you can practice with us and come and do that, or just reach out to me and ask me about that. But in the meanwhile, let's deal with music. So here, what I'm going to do, check this out, is if the clave, if you will, the rhythmic pattern is like 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2. The rhythm of this line that I'm going to create is going to be the opposite, 2, then 3. E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. So I ascend a 2-beat phrase and then descend a 3-beat phrase. E and a 1, E and a 2, and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. And then I'm going to move that up a minor third. E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. Then down to that E flat major 7 sharp 5. E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. Down a whole step. E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 4, E and a 5. E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. E and a 1, E and a 2, the 3, E and a 4, E and a 5. So point out a couple of things. Every time I do one of those individual sequences up and down, it's the same number of notes per string, which allows me to really lock in my technique, lock in my time feel and my articulation. You don't have to do it, but it's been really helpful to me, and a lot of people who I've shared it with through these groups and in person, whatever. But okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that exact same line starting from each of those different points that I began with, right? So that means starting it from D minor 7 flat 5, that was what I just did, then from F minor major 7, and then from A flat major 7 sharp 5. So 3 different, superimposition combinations, right, that go over that progression using the same line structure. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. So now let's start that from F minor major, right? So 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 5. Again. Right? And now, actually, let me insert a word about the fact that I'm playing with my thumb. If you actually know what me and my playing, that's not typically something that I've done in the past, but I started working on it for a lot of reasons. Everybody loves Wes, and nobody gets that sound. It's just so amazing, but we can all certainly try. It's such a beautiful thing to hear the flesh on the guitar, and the way that using the thumb, kind of changes our phrasing and puts in certain rhythmic accents that might be harder to achieve with a pick is like a cool thing. Again, a little more about the flesh on the string. That has actually helped my actual picking with a pick, because I think it's improved my tactile sense to have such an immediate relationship with the finger to the string, and that's transferred well to, like, when I'm putting this plastic piece between my two fingers, and trying to make that happen. And I will certainly cite a conversation that I had with a great guitar player, one of my favorite guitar players in the George Benson, style, who has got a real powerful voice. David Rosenthal was, I don't think he was speaking from, knowing George personally, but just kind of theorizing that, when George, when he's at home from his tours, would probably be sitting in his big house with guitars all over the place, and he just liked picking up guitars and playing with his thumb. And there's something about that either builds or reinforces that amazing picking technique he has because of the immediacy of that, and also the difficulty of it. It's such I don't know if I should call it a more minute movement, but I guess I feel it makes one hyper aware of, like, how the movement of either this or picking operates in general, and then it augments that in a good way. So that was my motivation. And also, not unlike Wes, I live in a house where I have to be quiet when I play. I think the folklore goes that Wes had 8 kids, right? So he had to play quietly when he wanted to practice. So I have 2 kids who typically sleep behind the wall that this computer is facing when I am teaching or practicing at night. So, and my wife is on that side of the wall resting or sleeping. So I keep it down by playing quietly with my thumb. Anyway, interesting digression. But okay, let's get back to the lines. So here's now the major 7 sharp 5 line moved around, right? So let's get our tempo. So 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 5. Again. Right? Really nice sound. And I should add that, like, anything that I start on the 6th string, I then start on the 5th string, or anything I start on the 5th string, I then start on the 6th string. So if I did F minor or major over here, I can move it down to this register. So listen to this, 4E and a 5. Right? So, interesting. And then what I was going to say is, oh yeah, so say we want to, I stumped myself practicing this rhythm. Let's see if I can play this. So now I'm going to try to make this a little more hard boppy or beboppy, same phrase, because I was just pretty much playing up and down a combination of arpeggios and scales, not too much melodic or rhythmic embellishment, right? So one might argue, yeah, it's cool. I really dig the texture of the lines, but it still sounds kind of like an exercise, right? Not like a swinging line. Although I do think that anyway, that's up for grabs, but I kind of like it either way. But in case that's you and you say, hey, what can you do that sounds more realistic? And here it is. Like, so I'm going to take this line and I'm going to go back to a 3/2 clave. So now I'm arpeggiating not just minor 7, but minor 11. 1, flat 3, flat 5, 7, 9, 11. And do an approach note in enclosure, circle around from G to F, right? So that's 3 beats. So. D D pretty nice, right? And I can do that. I can try. I haven't tried this before, but I'll try to play that line from the other superimposition starts. Pretty wild. Or A flat major 7 sharp 5. Pretty wild. I mean, that's a tough one, but I mean, I like it because it sounds like an alto player, not necessarily like a guitar player, with all those triplets and trills and slurs and stuff in it. Yeah. So this is another line using the exact same sequence that I'm working on. So these arpeggios descend in a kind of scalar fashion, but based on these same superimpositions. Or from F minor. Oh, da ba da be. Right? Pretty wild. I wonder if I can do that. And then with the A flat major 7 sharp 5 on top, like. So right. Right? Really nice. And now just to change gears, yeah, how about this? This is kind of cool. These are our triad superimpositions. In a way, they sound kind of more modern. So I'm going to do a C triad over this. And then look at this. I'm going to, over the G7, I'm going to change the voicing too. I'm going to use a C sharp minor triad starting from its 5th G sharp. And then over C minor, I'm going to do a D major triad. Hang on to your hat. Because, I mean, all right, we'll get into that later. And then over the A7, I'm going to do E flat minor. And then to C, to D flat on the G7, and D. And then E flat augmented. So check this out. Here we go. Hold on. Oh, no, I'm going to change the voicing. Excuse me. Getting old here. All right, so watch this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 13 flat 9, which is an unusual chord. Oh, and let's see, what voicing? Okay, yeah, wild. Listen to this. Okay, I got the voicings now. So like. Explain. D minor 7 flat 5 again is F melodic minor, and then this G7 is G 13 flat 9. And then the C minor. This is a little wacky. I'm tipping my hat to my buddy Jonathan Kreisberg, because he is the guru of the harmonic major scale. So if you look at G harmonic major, right, a G major scale with a flat 6, that if you start it from C, you get melodic minor with a sharp 4. C, D, E flat, F sharp, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, flat 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, right? So, and what happens is you end up with a D major over this chord. So again, so C major on the D minor 7 flat 5, C sharp minor triad on that G13 flat 9, and then D major on the C minor, and then E flat minor triad, right? Pretty wild. So listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. I'm sorry, I'm 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boop, ba, ba. Back. Okay, I will repeat the same one. Okay, that makes sense. And then we'll do that. And then how will we end it? Okay, so we're going to go C, D. Oh, wait, so C, sorry, C sharp minor, then D major, then E flat minor, then C, C sharp minor, D major, and then E flat augmented, starting from that C flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Again. I wonder if I could do it ascending one, descending down the other. Well, that would be interesting. Like, so 4 and pretty wild, right? So at any rate, what I do to master this stuff, or put another way, to geek out super hard, is I have, as you know from my previous video, tracks of me comping this progression down in steps through all keys. So I would take any one of those sequences through all keys, you know, and what I'm seeking to do is to like get the muscle memory, the oral memory, the intellectual understanding, the facility, the combination of my left and right hands, phrasing, rhythm, groove. And I was staying pretty close to home for most of the time, just playing like swinging eighth notes, but obviously you could use this as the basis to create more interesting lines. Anyway, I hope this was an interesting take on, you know, this kind of harmony, on that kind of progression, you know, seen through the lens of what I do, what I share. You can reach out to me if you have questions, but certainly leave a comment, a like. You know, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and yeah, enjoy. All right. Thank you again.